Good morning. Wake up, wake up, wake up. Morning to you.
Welcome back. This is the Wednesday morning edition of Morning Barbados. We're about to jump right into things. And of course, usually on a Wednesday, we start off with our Better Business. And this morning, we are going to be discussing the ups and downs of the construction industry and maybe give you some tips on how you can go about it and make sure that it's a good experience for you. Too many sad stories out there. And joining us this morning is Benjamin Niles. He's a builder. He is of Apex Constructions. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
How are you doing?
Very good, thank you.
All right. So let's first of all start off with a base. Like, what is the construction industry like right about now? Seeing that we're looking at Better Business, is it good business right now to be in the construction industry? Can it get better?
Yes, well, it has been better. So we would be saying that it can get better. The construction industry has its challenges, and of course in the current economic recession, the challenge is always the availability of mortgages and the client's determination to get them.
All right, so people are not opposed to paying for stuff, right?
No.
You know, you get the mortgage, you want your house done.
Yeah.
There's usually a lot of sad stories, like I said. Sometimes the builders don't get as much as maybe the contractors, but what has been your general experience over the years in terms of the expertise in your department and the kind of work that they deliver?
Our experience has been good. We offer a fixed price contract for our projects. Our situation
is this generally across the board, though?
This is what it should be across the board.
This is what it should be?
Yes.
That there should be a fixed price?
There should be a fixed price contract.
Tell us how this will work.
Okay. We enter into an arrangement. You come in to see us. We identify exactly what you qualify for. That's the first thing. You go to a bank and you establish what you qualify for. Then we will try to fit a package into your budget. We offer a house and land package. So with the land, you have a price, and then we have different designs varying.
But what I'm looking at, though, is if, you know, this is from the point of view of the company you work with, but generally in terms of builders, like let's say I didn't come to your company, somebody say, oh, I know Mr. Niles, you know, he's a good builder.
Yeah.
When you get into that sort of meeting with a customer, someone who's going to build a house, what are the things that you discuss with him, the person? I mean, as a builder, what should you be discussing?
Well, we discuss immediately what your qualifying package is, because the whole thing is centered around what you can afford. And we recommend that as well. For instance, we do not like people to go and get a house designed before they've spoken to us.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
So you should go to a builder even before you go to the architect?
That's correct. You should get some idea of what it is costing to produce a house before you go and have one designed, because you may find yourself having designed what you like but not what you can afford.
Are there several schools of thought as to which comes first? Because I'm sure that at least on this program alone, we have heard that the first person you need to talk to is your architect. Then we've also heard that the first person you need to speak to is your quantity surveyor. Somewhere along the lines, I'm sure there's a banker somewhere there waving their money going, wait, hang on, you have to be able to afford it no matter what you're building. So are there many schools of thought, and is it a case that one size doesn't necessarily fit all?
Yes, it could be right. That could be right. But fundamentally, whenever you're through, you must start at what you can afford.
Right.
So whether the builder presents that, or the architect, or the quantity surveyor, you must start there. That is, what can I afford, and what would I be able to get for X dollars? So the banker is in there as well to let you know, once you don't have the capital to do the project, what your qualifying numbers are.
Well, let's say for argument's sake that we've got the figures. The bank has given us that lovely approval letter and we can move full steam ahead. What should the industry standard be in terms of the actual physical workers, your tilers, your plumbers, your carpenters, your masons? What should the industry standard be on where they are gleaned from? Is it a case where, as often as seems to happen, the contractor is kind of like a constructional Pied Piper, and the masons just kind of follow the money going from project to project? Or should there be dedicated one team per home?
We have, in our company, we allocate one team per home. But that would be like the masonry team and one carpentry team. And then we would bring in a tiler and a joiner. We have those within our company that do those specific tasks. And so the construction of that house is identified with a team that did it.
But you're lucky to have an overall body that is well run and well funded so that you can allocate those resources. In the event that they're perhaps a small contractor, how do you go about making sure that there's uniformity of work when, quite simply, you cannot guarantee that your plumber is only working on this house at this time? After all, he has to feed his family too.
Yes, well, he doesn't have to be working on this house at this particular time. As the builder, that's your responsibility to coordinate the project and ensure that what is being done at the correct time and at the correct standard. So that's the builder's duty. It doesn't have to be a big operation. Ultimately, he's responsible for the coordination of the execution of the work.
You mentioned the word standards, and you know this is the time and age when that means a whole lot. Is there a standards for builders? Is there a place where you can go and get qualified, or can I just, after a period of time in the business, move my way up from being, you know, a mason to a builder? How does that work?
There are standards. You can go to the Polytechnic or the community college and do varying degrees of building subjects, and that's always recommended. But there's always scope for the apprentice type arrangement where you've come on, for instance, as a laborer, and you've put your effort into learning over time what's the right way to do things, and if you apply yourself, you can mature and develop in the industry.
And it is also sounding to me that a builder has to have an idea of a number of the areas of house building, so that if he comes in tomorrow and see the tiles are not looking that straight, he could perhaps call in the tiler before the house owner comes in and has to make. Is that part of the job too?
That's correct. So that ultimately he's responsible, and he must have a complete overview of the project. He has to be knowledgeable. He must know his quantities. For instance, how many tiles are required to be ordered to cover this area, how many blocks are required to be able to build out this plan. This is where some of the challenges occur on this island. There are guys that, for instance, learn the physical skill of building the blocks, and they can do it well. And they want to emerge into being a builder or a contractor, per se, which now involves giving a price for work. And the challenge for them is often now in being able to quantify what is required.
Isn't that where the quantity surveyor comes in?
That's correct. They must go to the quantity surveyor if they don't know how to do it themselves and get his input, and then add their profit or supervision or work along with the QS in view of arriving at a price that they can present to the customer.
Generally, what's that relationship like, if you have any idea? I mean, I'm asking you to go to try and canvass the entire Barbados, right? But generally, what is the relationship like between builders and quantity surveyors? Is it a tug of war, or generally do they work together, tend to work together?
It depends on the level of the project. If it's a small job, most of the time the builders don't go to the quantity surveyors. Only when the job gets bigger, or if an architect is involved and he's going out to tender, they may go to a QS for his input. With a smaller job, which is where most of the problems arise, where there's a word of mouth quote. This is where the challenge arises. And they may look at it and say, I think that would probably come to X dollars. And often this is where there is some breakdown, because the client may be looking for the cheapest price, and depending on the urgency or the determination of the guy to get the job, he may give a low price. But it may not be what can do the job. And that's why there are so many unfinished projects around.
Would you like to see that as part of the standards for the builders, that when someone comes to them, no matter the size of the project, you say to them, check with a quantity surveyor?
Well, if it is needed, because there are some of us that can do our own quantity surveying work, and but certainly it should reach the point where there must be a fixed price contract.
Mr. Niles, the segment is called Better Business, so help us prospective homeowners make better business choices, because you know how we can get sometimes. We loved the tiles when we saw them on the internet. We absolutely loved them when we shipped them in. Now that they're in the bathroom, we don't like them. Help us prospective homeowners operate our business better by not sending mixed signals, choosing the right professionals, and not being immediately titillated by a cheap price.
Well, that depends, of course, on your maturity in the subject area. My advice to the potential homeowner is establish first what you can afford. Deal with a reputable builder. Nobody wants to be tricked. Why go to somebody that you don't know, that you've never heard of, that you can't identify what they've done before? A house is your life savings. It's not like a toilet paper that we can make a choice and say, well, this one isn't very good, I'll choose the next one next time. A house is a lifetime commitment. Therefore, we need to get sound advice. Don't rush it. Take your time and make sure that you're doing the right thing. It also hinges a lot on how you view this home. But in my opinion, from my angle, I always go at it, establish what you can afford first and work backward from there. So if I can't manage to have the marble tiles now, then go with a cheaper tile. Just do, but in my opinion, you can get a house at whatever financial level you are at. We are at this time offering a product because we've been researching and trying to identify what we can do to help people in this country get houses at a cheaper, more affordable level.
And that is always the key. Unfortunately, though, we are out of time right now, but we want to thank you very much, Mr. Benjamin Niles, for coming by and discussing it with us. Like he says, establish first what you can afford, work backwards. And he's also suggesting that you should shop around. Find out more about this builder who's been recommended to you. Look at work that has been done. You know, try and get a full idea of the expertise of this person. Thank you very much again, Mr. Niles.
Thanks, Mr. Niles.
Thank you.
And Morning Barbados will be continuing. I believe we will be talking to the doctor next. We'll be right back.
Morning Barbados, good morning.